Hello and welcome to this episode of Saturday Rehearsal. My name is George. You can call me Greg. And remember, we mentioned that we were going to go practical on breathing. And so, in this section, we're going to talk about or exercise on how to breathe in, how to sustain the air, and how to bring it out. So, that is, as I mentioned earlier, breath control or breath management. So, now let's talk about breathing in. Someone will say inhalation, breathing in. All right. Now, I mentioned in my last episode that we do it wrongly sometimes. And I also said that just put your, by way of demonstration, put your right hand on your, on your stomach. So if you're doing it right, you realize that as your stomach increases or as your stomach becomes bigger, your hand moves up or it pushes your hand, because why you are pushing it, putting in air, and so automatically or obviously your stomach becomes bigger. And I also mentioned that your chest is becoming bigger. Why? Because you are taking in air and it's increasing the size of your lungs. Now, there's another thing I want to talk about, which I think will make this phenomenon easier. So, you are breathing in. We have all agreed to this point that your stomach has to bulge out instead of in. Now consider the balloon. If you are blowing air into the balloon, what happens? Everybody knows that what the balloon increases in size. And so from the onset it is flat, but as you blow air into it, it becomes bigger, 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 bigger. If you don't take care, it goes pow. That is what should happen when you are taking in air. I don't mean your stomach will go pow, but I mean your stomach increases in size if you are taking in air. I don't expect to, or we don't expect that our stomach goes flat when you're taking in air, as people usually do. Breathe in, out. No. And so we want to start the breathing in exercise. So I'm putting my right hand on my stomach. You can do that with me wherever you are. It's good to always be on your feet when you're doing these things because we don't sing sitting. We are singing is the best position to be is to stand. Okay, let's be relaxed. Okay, be relaxed. Your shoulders should be down. Relax, relax, relax. And this is what we usually do at the beginning of our rehearsals, Saturday rehearsals usually. So before we sing, we would like to do what we call warm ups. We stand, we say stretch, 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 and then we start with our breathing exercise. Okay, so let's do the normal breathe in, breathe out. So breathe in, out, in, out. Last one, in, out. I don't know about you, but I felt that my tummy was becoming bigger and bigger as I took in air. So I hope we did the right thing. All right. Now, there are ways of taking in air. The first point is through your nose, obviously. And the second point is through your mouth. The nose, the mouth. And so when you are sleeping, usually we have our mouth covered. And so naturally we taking it through our nose. You don't know how you breathe. It's only God who keeps us alive when we are asleep. And so we take air through our nose. Now, when we are awake and we are talking, we are singing, we are talking, we are walking about, we do it through either our nose or our mouth. Okay. So when you are quiet and not talking, obviously you're taking it through your nose. But when you are talking, it's unconscious, but you take it through your mouth usually. You take it through your mouth. Or when you are singing, usually you take it through your mouth. Because I've never seen someone singing and you go taking in air. No, it doesn't happen like that. Okay, so if I'm taking air through my nose, sitting down quietly, not talking, or waiting for my turn as the soloist, goes about his business with the singing. So I'm quiet, taking in air in and out through my nose. So you notice that my stomach is still coming up and down, or in and out. Good. So you can also try that in a quiet mode. You're taking in air because your mouth is closed. It's coming in through your nose. So when we are singing, whilst waiting for our turn to come in with whatever we are supposed to, whether it's the chorus or whatever, we are taking in breath through our nose, through our nose. Now, when do we take breath through our mouth? Whilst I'm talking, I'm taking breath. Whilst I'm talking, I'm taking in breath. But you don't realize it. Why? Because I'm taking it through my mouth. And you take in air through your mouth. Obviously, you do something like this. Mouth has to open. Either or okay, but whilst I'm talking, my mouth keeps opening and closing. And so when I'm taking the air, you don't notice. But I'm actually taking in air. You can try that at home. So whilst you are talking, taking in air, taking in air. But usually when we are singing, because you do that at strategic points in the song, you feel or you get that sound. You get that sound because somebody is taking in air. Now that brings me to the two, I think the two, yeah, the two way of taking in air. The two way of taking in air. Okay, I just demonstrated that is one. The first one I'll talk about is the long intake. The long intake. The long intake. Okay, you take in air, slowly until you get filled up. Okay. And we usually do that with our nose. So when you're sitting in quietly, somebody's taking air. Okay. And so we will demonstrate, we say breathe in, breathe out. Whilst our mouth is closed, we'll be taking in air through our nose in and out. Let's try it. So breathe in, out, so through the nose. Now if I say breathe in, let's take it slowly as possible. Taking. And when I say out, you bring it out slowly too. Okay, so breathe in, out, in, out. Good. So you come to the out bit, the management bit. Now we are just demonstrating. Our focus is on taking in air. So we just finished with the long intake, and we mentioned that it's usually through our nose. Okay. So now let's talk about the quick intake. The quick intake is usually through our mouth. And I mentioned earlier that when you are talking, you don't even notice that you're taking in air. You take it in because your mouth is open. You're opening it, closing, opening, closing. You don't realize. Nobody notices, but you are taking in air. As I speak now, you don't notice that I'm taking air. Unless you pay attention to probably my chest or my stomach, you see that, okay, bulges out and, okay, he is taking in air. Okay, good. But when we are singing, at what point do we take in the air in this quick intake? Okay, so first of all, when it comes to the slow intake, at the ends of phrases of songs, at the ends of the phrases, usually it's a beat, two, three beats, four beats. You have the luxury of taking in air. Okay, you have the luxury of taking in air. But if you are picking it just half or so a bit, you don't have the luxury of taking in air with your nose. And so obviously you have to use your mouth to take in air. So how do we do that? We want to do the quick intake because obviously when you see anybody doing this, out, in, No, 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 no. Okay, so how do we take in air through our mouth quickly? Now, if somebody out of shock, somebody is doing something out of shock, somebody is expressing shock, the first thing the person does, is that so? Okay, okay. So what am I doing? I'm taking in air quickly. Okay, it's gone. And because I was talking, you don't really feel. Ah, it's you. Okay, you know. So that is quick intake. Okay, you open your mouth not too wide so that it's very obvious. No, 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 no. Okay, so yes, do it with me. Open your mouth, take in air. It shouldn't be as obvious as possible, but once your mouth is open, you take in air as much as you can. So, are you ready? Breathe in, and you'll be surprised to notice that even though it was that short or quick, the amount of air you take is probably the same or even more than what you did earlier with the long intake. Okay, so you can also try that or test that by putting your hand on your belly or your stomach once again. Then let's try the quick intake. Are you ready? Breathe in, slow out. So we bring out through our nose. Okay, let's try it again. Breathe in, out. Okay, so now we have demonstrated the two way of breathing. All right, first through our nose, secondly through our mouth. And we did the quick intake, or the first of all the long intake through our nose. We mentioned that it is when you are quiet, waiting for your turn in singing, or you are quiet, sitting down, relaxed. We do it through our nose, and then the quick intake, you do it whilst you are talking. It's not noticeable, nobody notices it, but as you talk or as you sing, you take it in. Okay. In subsequent videos, I'll demonstrate with singing, and I'll show you the strategic points of taking air when you are singing. You know, the strategic points of taking in air when you are singing. And I'll do that with a couple of songs. Then we see how to do that. All right. So in the next episode, I would like us to talk about management of the air we have taken in. And then with a song or two, try and demonstrate the management of the air. So see you in the next video. God bless you.